What's up, everybody? Today's victim, a 2007 Hyundai Azera, and we're going to be doing a fuel pump on this. The car actually cut off on the people driving down the interstate, and I brought it back here to my place. It will crank up and run, but just enough to keep it running. Fuel pressures are super low, like 20 pounds maybe, and you can actually hear the fuel pump surging inside the tank. Like, it will rev up, go down, and then you can actually have it cut off on you, like while it's idling, and then a couple seconds later the engine dies down. But we're going to be doing this fuel pump, and you got to get into the trunk to do this. So let me gather some tools and the parts, and we'll get right to it, and I'll show you how to do everything. Alright, so we're in the back of the trunk now. And as you can see, we have this carpet right here. It should just fold right back. Oh yeah, folds right back. And then you got this door right here. It's just some Phillips head screws. We're gonna lift this up and undo the connector. And if you're doing the sending unit, like the level gauge and everything, it will be at this door. But the rectangular door is the one that houses the actual fuel pump. And we got just the pump, not the whole sending unit, because the whole sending unit is almost $700 and just the pump was about $190. So the customer wanted to just do that, and I can remove it, it's not an issue. So what we're going to do is get to pulling this off. Let me grab my Phillips head screwdriver and I'll be right back. So like I said, we got this Phillips head screwdriver. I'm going to pull these out, and pressure has been relieved because the fuel pressure went out whenever the pump actually went off on this, because I had it running, then it cut off on me, and I verified that the fuel pump was bad and it ran all the pressure out. Let me set y'all down too. We'll have to fold this back a little bit. I mean, you could probably lay the seat down if you wanted to, but you should be able to get in here without having to lay the seat down. Just make sure you have like a small enough screwdriver. You could actually use a stubby screwdriver and do this too. Give you a little bit more room. It's a little warm in this trunk, considering it's only 10 o'clock in the morning and it's already 90 degrees here. Alright, when you lift this up, there's all your connectors in there. Oop, didn't mean to move y'all all around. It's just basic connectors. Let's see about getting that one off. There we go. Now that that's out of the way, pull these little red clips back and push down and push those tabs, and there's the fuel lines. I should have put my gloves on. Let me go grab like a pair of hose clamp pliers so I can squeeze that in a little bit better. Well, maybe. Oh, there we go. Now we got it out. Now I did put some gloves on just because I don't want to get gas everywhere on my hands and get it all over the people's car or their trunk area. So next step is to remove all these bolts right there. I do believe they are 8 millimeters. Yep. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove all these, and once I get the bolts off and get ready to pull the pump out, I will show you that. We had to take this little bracket off right here. It uses two 10 millimeters and attaches to your tank pressure sensor, I believe that is. But we got all the other bolts out. They are 8 millimeters and they are super short. I believe there are 7 of them, or 6 actually. 7, yeah, there are 7 of them. So now what we're going to do is lift this up. You have to tilt it back a little bit, and if you look down in there, it is pretty tight. And we got that out. I'm gonna set it down for a minute because I did drop something else down in there. Let me fish that out real quick, and then we'll get the pump taken care of, because we're going to be taking it off of the sending unit and replacing it, and then putting the old sending unit back on. But let me fish this out of here and see what fell off, and make sure that it was nothing that I broke. Hopefully not, but I'll let y'all know what it was whenever I get it out. Alright, so what I dropped in there was the float on the side of it, and it just sits right in there. But here is the new fuel pump right here. It is an import direct from O'Reilly's. They are not a sponsor, but that's just who had it in stock. And the part number is E16468. And like I said, we're going to just be replacing the pump itself. That's the pump right here. And shows installation guide, but more than likely we will not be using this because it should just be pretty straightforward. Alright, so we got the fuel pump out now. Here is the fuel pump that we took out, and this is the strainer. We got a new strainer coming because I thought that this one come with one, but it didn't. But to take this off, you're going to have this little clip right here that goes on the bottom, and it's just little tabs that hold this in. You're going to use a screwdriver, like a flathead screwdriver, pull them back real lightly, and then if you pull straight down, this fuel pump will actually just pop right out because there's a seal right there. But this one is torn, so I may have to see if I can find a new one on that as well. So I'm going to go look and see if I can get that out. And then you can move this around a little bit, but you're going to have to pry the actual strainer off of this to get this off. And this right here fits pretty tight up inside of the cap. And as you can see, there's little pieces of stuff all up in there. We're going to wash this all off with some brake cleaner and stuff. And then you have this little isolator right here that goes around it. Let me see if I can get it. But kind of goes like that around it. You can see the shape of it. But we're going to reuse that on the new fuel pump. But we have the strainer coming now, and as soon as it gets here, we'll put all this together, and I'll see if I can find a seal for this right here. But I will give you the part number for the strainer as well, just so everybody has that. But as soon as it comes in, we'll get it all back together. Alright, we got the pump back in. I had to reuse the old strainer because the one they sent was the wrong one. And what I did was I took the grommet off the old one because we could not get it in either. And it had a split in it. And this is the top piece. I just took it off and pushed the grommet into the housing itself as far as it would go. I just used like the handle of a screwdriver to tap it in. And then once I got that in, I stuck the fuel pump up in here and put the little rubber grommet that goes on the bottom of the fuel pump itself on. Then I slid the hold on clamp right here, or retainer clip you could call it, right here. And after I installed that, I took the old clip off of the old pump, and it goes around here. I had to pry it off a little bit with a screwdriver, and that helps hold the strainer on. I took that off, put it on the new pump, and then I pushed the old strainer onto that, and as you can see, it is on fairly well. I'm gonna show you. I'm wiggling it pretty good right there, and it's not coming off. So we do have the new pump in the housing assembly. Now we can reconnect the connector, and I did wash the inside of this out with some brake cleaner and blew it off with the air hose just to make sure that no particles or anything were stuck in there. And it had a little bit of black stuff come out, but it wasn't a whole lot. But now that we have all this together, what we can do is reassemble it back into the actual tank, and I'll show you that here now. But I'm going to take it to the car and we'll be right back. All right, we are back in the car now, and remember that the actual float and level and all that stuff points to the front of the car. Let's see if we can get this in fairly easy. Don't want to drop anything. Hardest part's getting the level in and getting the lines out of the way. Okay, we got the pump bolts in. I did tighten up the bracket that holds this sensor right here, and I put this line on. Now I'm going to show you the same thing with the other line. All you do is just push them on and then push the safety clip back. And I connected this connector. Remember, the black connector goes to the sensor, and then the gray connector goes to the gray connector. Now if I can get it in one-handed. Come on. Alright, got that on. Now we just flip the lid back over, and we put the Phillips head screws back in. We can get them lined up right. So I'm sitting in the car now, got the key in the ignition, and we're going to prime it a few times. Probably do it about 4 times. It should be enough to start it. There it goes. Yes, we got the AC running right now too. That way I had to put a little bit more of a load on it, which you can look at the temperature. It says 103 degrees outside, which is about right. Gotta love the South Carolina weather in June. But before, if I'd rush the engine like that, it would cut out and cut the car off. We're gonna hold it about 2,500, 3,000, somewhere around there. Let's take it for a little test drive real quick. Oh yeah, I can already tell it's better. I'm just going around my neighborhood a little bit right now. Yes, I do live in a little subdivision neighborhood. Seems to be doing good now. Yes, I know I don't have my seatbelt on. Way better. Before, when she broke down on the interstate, it wouldn't even, like, it would take forever for it to crank. and whenever it would crank, you push it to the floor, it wouldn't go over 1,000 RPMs. It would stumble and then it would die out, and almost sounded like a clogged catalytic converter, to be honest, the way it was doing is sputtering, but that's because it wasn't getting enough fuel. Like I said, fuel pressure was ranging between like 15 and 20 psi, and after it sat there for probably a minute or two, it would actually die down and cut off completely, and then once the fuel pump cut off, it would actually kill the car. But I do believe we are good to go on this one. I'm going to pull back into my driveway. And we should be good on this one. And surprisingly, this actually calls for like 3 hours of labor. I don't know why. I'm not going to charge them that because it only took me, like full time I might have an hour in it, so I ain't going to charge them, but probably about an hour and a half of labor max. So, but that will conclude this video. Like I said, the strainer that they sent me was the wrong one, so if you get one that doesn't have the deep attachment and it doesn't have it right in the middle, you got the wrong one. You may have to go to Hyundai to get that. I've noticed a lot of these Hyundais and Kia parts are like specific to factory parts, but like I said, we got this done. This is good to go. We'll call the customer, let her know that her car is ready. But if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. And until next time, y'all have a great day.